What's good, everybody? It's your boy. I'm back with another video. Keep bringing that heat for y'all. And in today's video, we're just gonna have a general NBA discussion, y'all. We're just gonna have there's a lot of things to unpack. I guess you could say ever since the first round ended. We can talk about drafting, free agency, whatever front office moves, whatever y'all guys want to talk about. We can just get right into it. And of course, I got the same two guys in my last video on with me. I got my boy Jay on with me. What's good?
What's going on, y'all?
And I got my kinfolk Will. What's good, man?
Yo, man.
Man, listen. Y'all general overall kind of opinion of the first one. How do y'all think? Y'all think it was like a success for the NBA, or y'all think it was something y'all thought was gonna happen, or like what do y'all think?
I'll let you handle it. I'll let you start with.
So, pre-bubble, wasn't sure if they'd be able to pull it off, but I think it's an absolute success.
Yeah.
Like, the way... So, it does remind you that a pandemic is happening because you have the fans on screens and nobody around. Everyone's social distancing on a bench. But overall, the game's been pretty good, especially with the circumstance. It feels like the scoring is up since it's been happening.
Yeah, it really.
But I think overall, it's been great.
What about you, Jay?
I think for the most part, it's been a lot of fun to watch. At least the first round was.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, personally, since the Mavs been eliminated, I don't really ever cared that much. Like,
Yeah,
I'll watch sometimes I won't. But like during the first round, I was watching like every game, every day, except for like the first game, because the first game should be like 1 o'clock and still working and stuff like that. But after it got off, like I was watching basketball the rest of the night for the most part. So it was super exciting from that perspective. I think to Will's point, it was hard to really see if they would be able to pull this off. But I think more credit goes to Adam Silver and how they were able to navigate through all this stuff.
Right.
And do it in a way that they somehow were able to avoid anybody catching anything.
They need to do the blueprint to y'all's commander and
so yeah, that's what I was saying. But honestly, like I think it's hard to. They had no prior experience to use as a blueprint, right? Like they built all this essentially from scratch, and you know, sure you can have a debate about them having access to the amount of tests that they had and the type of test that gave as quick of a turnaround as they had when you have people in other areas who either can't get access to testing or the access they can get to testing takes 2 weeks to get a result, which essentially negates the purpose of the test in the first place. So there's certainly some ethical dialogue that can take place in regards to how really important was it to get this off in the grand scheme of things. But we're gonna get into that specifically in regards to what took place. I thought it was great. It was a lot of fun to watch, and I think it'll be interesting to see how things build outside of the bowl. From a fan perspective,
right?
Because there's been a lot of dialogue about people saying, "Oh, well, they're not. People aren't watching it right now because it's not the same," or they don't want to watch it without fans being there, or the political reasons, what have you. I'm interested to see how they come out on the other side of it. But in terms of the first round and stuff, I thought it was a streaming success. I thought they did a fantastic job. I thought the Mavericks losing in six. I thought they did a really good job, and I think they set the blueprint for how things should go moving forward. If this ever happens again, they set the blueprint. They did a fantastic job. Fantastic job.
Yeah, I think Adam Silver is probably hands down the best GM. I mean, I'm sorry, not GM, commissioner in all sports, man.
Like, I don't think it's close.
What takes leadership, man, is a leader. A leader is not somebody who has all the answers. That's why when you see, you see, like, for example, you see head coaches, they put people in positions around them to help them to succeed. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like if that's the case, then you don't need like in football, you don't need an offensive coordinator, you don't need a defensive coordinator, you don't need a special team. I could do it all by myself if you have all the.
Right.
And so that's the one thing I like about Adam Silver, man. He listens and gathers information before he reacts. You know what I mean? Like he's not like, oh, I'm doing it this way and that's it. You know what I mean? And so with that, like I said, I like you guys said, I like the way that they were handling the bubble, and to show like how many tests was it in a row? Like 4 or 5 in a row with no COVID cases at all, bro. That's like, man, listen, I know a lot of people kind of criticizing some of like the rules they were having before the whole thing, the bubble started or whatever, and look like it paid off. You know what I mean?
For sure.
You know, I understand some of the players are kind of like, you know, ready to go home. That's understandable. You know what I mean? But overall, like I said, they tried to help the players get comfortable as much as possible. They had a lot of, you know, catering services, massages, had people take care of their clothes, you know, all that stuff. And so, you know, just in just the overall like entertainment aspect of the bubble, man, I liked it. The only thing I'm kind of, I know this is not really all that important, but it's kind of what you were saying a minute ago, Jay, about the, you know, seeing how they take this and move forward. Let me ask y'all a question about this. Do y'all think that, okay, let's say for prime example, you know, Jonte Murray came in and was balling in, you know, this first round. You know, I think he put up 250 point games, him and Donovan Mitchell. Like you've seen Donovan Mitchell clown the playoffs before, so he doesn't count. But for guys like that, you know, you see them clowning in the bubble with no pressure on them, nobody yelling, you know, there's no crowd noise, none of that. Do y'all think that you're gonna take that type of game and carry over to next season? Like, say we do have, you know, fans back at the stadiums. Y'all think they can carry that over to next season and step their game up?
I think so now.
You think so?
If it was regular, if everything was normal,
Yeah.
then probably would have been more of a struggle for him to do that.
Yeah.
But now that he's done it, I think he can be able to do it.
I mean, not just him, you know, like even Devin Booker. The way Devin Booker looked in that bubble, man, he played in a way that everybody was expecting him to been expecting him to play. Like, bro, carry your team, bro. I mean, I understand it's in the West, but be in that contention for the 8th seed or the 7th seed or whatever. You know, you've been in the league long enough. And so that's why I was like, I wonder if those guys or young guys like that are going to take this experience and build on that and then carry over to next year. Like, just because the NBA, they want to have a season with fans. Adam Silver kind of said that before. They're thinking about pushing the season back a little bit further, just to make sure that they can get the fans in. And I think that's more of the money reasons, not because they care about the fans. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
No, you gonna say something, Jay?
Yeah, I was gonna say, well, two things, I guess. First thing is, I was watching JJ Redick's podcast.
Oh yeah, I watched it too. Yeah,
and Mark Cuban was on there a couple of days ago, and I watched that. And he talked about how he felt like the target date would be MLK Day.
Yeah, I heard he did say that. Yeah.
So that I think that if we can push it back to mid-January, then it's a good starting point to potentially get fans back. But to answer your question, I think it depends. It depends on the player. I don't think TJ Warren is going to walk out next year and score 30 points a game.
No.
Sorry. But I think Book understood the circumstances. He understood that they had a chance to make the playoffs, and they have not had that chance since he's been there.
Right.
And so I think having that on his shoulders and knowing that the NBA was the only show in town until baseball started back, right? And the NHL. Outside of WNBA and MLS, the NBA was one of that was the first of the major four to start back, right?
Yeah.
So everybody was focused on them. So I think him understanding that the spotlight was on him and it was an opportunity because nobody watched Phoenix Suns games. Like nobody, they weren't ever on TV. No. So I think it was a combination of them finally getting some sort of a spotlight and them having the opportunity to make some noise. And finally having a decent head coach. Monty Williams is
Monty Williams,
coach, right?
Yeah, he's real solid.
So I think it's a combination of a lot of things. So I think because of that, he does have the ability to move this into next year and going forward, and potentially for the Mavericks at some point. But also, I think if you look at guys like Jamal Murray. I think Jamal Murray's issue was just being consistent. I don't think it's too much of a surprise to see what he's been doing. It's just to see him doing it game after game. It's
Yeah,
like,
yeah, that was his
okay, so it's not so much like a TJ Warren thing where TJ Warren kind of came out of nowhere.
right.
I remember TJ Warren in Phoenix because he notoriously used to kill the Mavericks.
Okay.
So I remember that from that perspective.
Yeah,
He used to kill nobody else.
yeah,
I
yeah,
remember him when he played the Mavericks. Anyways,
yeah.
so I knew he had the potential to get hot, but not 50 points hot, right?
Right.
So I don't know that we can expect it from him. I think to put a bow on this, I think if there are players who have done it before, but just not as consistent, I think the potential is there for him to become more consistent, particularly once we do get to the point where fans are back. I just think the folks that kind of just blew up out of nowhere won't sustain that. And it's interesting, I don't know TJ Warren's contract status, but he may have worked his way into a max deal from Charlotte just to like go over there and average 13 points a game.
Somebody
So
I know
good
team
for
like
him
Charlotte
if-
will throw money at him. So yeah.
Good for him if that happens. But I think it's a blip on the radar.
It's kind of funny you said that because I like you. I don't expect a guy like T.J. Warren to go out here and look like Michael Jordan or somebody next year, man. Like I said, I just feel like he's one of those players, man, that there was no pressure on him. You know what I mean? You go into the bubble, all you got to do is focus on basketball and nothing else. And he just went out there and played. You know what I mean? 'Cause it showed in the playoffs, man, when it really pressure really got on him. I mean, he didn't really show up like he did before the book. I think before the playoffs, he was averaging like 30-something points a game or something like that.
Somewhere
I
in
think
there.
he was number one, wasn't he? Number one scorer.
I believe
think
so, between
yeah,
him
something
and
like that.
Book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know what I mean? Like with guys like that, I don't expect it. You know, I just figure like I was saying, like a guy like Devin Booker or Jamal Murray or so, I'm trying to think of somebody else. I think I had in mind. I can't remember. Like Tatum. Tatum was already kind of doing it before the bubble, but guys like that was kind of on
I
that.
think a little bit of a dip. I think Donovan and Conway just. I mean, he's playing well, but he wasn't playing at that superstar level.
Yeah. He
that
was a
played every
consistent,
year.
like, he get like 24, 25 consistently. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
He didn't have like a bunch of those spurts like he did in the
before.
playoffs.
Yeah, and last year I think he played well. I think this year before the bubble he was kind of shaky.
Yeah.
But he certainly has flipped the switch. I think and they just backed the brake truck up for him. So
Yeah, they did.
hopefully, he'll be able to show up now.
So let me ask you a question, man. Speaking of coaches, man, because this is one of the ones I kind of want to vent on.
Oh my
Y'all
God.
think about the Steve Nash signing, man?
Oh yes, I can't wait to talk about this.
Go ahead, man. I'm gonna let you go ahead and go first. 'Cause I got a lot.
So here's the thing, and I'm kind of glad you let me go first. I think I may know where you're going with this. So I'm happy to go the other way. So I love it. The only reason why I say that is people, if you know, Steve Nash was a consultant for the Warriors.
Yeah.
He'd been there for quite a while, and he had a really good relationship with KD while he was there. KD was closer to Steve Nash than he was to Steve Kerr. And one of the things that people have kind of skipped over is that Sean Marks, who was a GM of the Brooklyn Nets,
he played with Steve Nash.
He did play with Steve, that was fine. But I'll ask this question to both of them. Does anybody in this chat or whatever this is, video, believe that Steve Nash would be the coach of the Brooklyn Nets if either Kyrie or KD didn't want it?
But no, that's the thing.
They signed off on it.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, they definitely have to sign off. You're right.
Okay, so we agree that if either one of them was not in agreement, that Steve Nash would not be the coach. Do you agree on that?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So I'm going to speak on one part of this. And I think you already know where I'm going with this. Stephen A's response to the hiring.
I'm in 100% agreement with him, and I don't agree with him a lot. probably
and that's why I'm going there, right? Because you and I are not going to agree on this, but I'm going to explain to you why I don't agree with that.
and I'm gonna explain why.
All right. So, and I'll be honest, I'm kind of like glad we disagree because I think we can have a type of conversation that's not gonna get crazy,
Like on Twitter.
You know what I'm saying? Right. So I'm glad this is actually perfect.
Right.
So here's why I disagree with you. From a macro perspective, he's not wrong in what he said, right? Certainly, there's always an example of a time where we, and all three of us, I'm sure, can attest to this personally, where we have had to work to the nail for specific opportunities that someone else got that had to potentially work half as hard as we did to get to either the same spot or further, right?
Right.
So on the surface level, I agree with what he's saying on the premise. Where I disagree with him is this specific example.
Yeah.
Using Steve Nash as an example, I disagree with it wholeheartedly, and here's why. Derek Fisher did not have any coaching experience before he got hired to coach the Knicks. Jason Kidd did not have any hiring experience, did not have any coaching experience before he got hired to coach the Nets. Mark Jackson did not have any coaching experience before he got hired to coach the Warriors. So there are three examples of black men who well deserved the opportunities they got and got them despite not having any coaching experience. I use those as examples because I don't like the fact that he kind of broad stroked this whole thing and said, hey, white people always get these opportunities despite the fact that they never coached. And there's another example of it. When there are three examples, including one in that same franchise, where a black person got a head coaching opportunity despite not having any experience. So that's why I say I disagree with him on the fact of using Steve Nash's hire as an example to discuss white privilege, because there are several examples too in that same town where there were black men that were hired without experience to coach a basketball team. I also don't like the fact that he didn't, to me, I'm not going to talk about that. Because this isn't a Steve Nash discussion. This is a Steve Nash discussion.
Right.
So I honestly feel like this is almost the opposite of white privilege, because that hire does not happen if two black men don't agree. So if Sean Marks went and hired Steve Nash behind KD's back and behind Kyrie's back, and then get their approval, then I would say it's black privilege, because you're now handpicking a coach without the consent of the two prime players on your team and saying, here you go, this is who you're going to work with. Instead, they got them and said, and got their approval. And I'm pretty sure it was more of an approval from Kyrie, but an endorsement from Kevin Durant because of the relationship that they had. So if you have your star player, KD's better than Kyrie, so he is their star player. So if you have your star player endorsing this man, not just approving it, but endorsing and saying, I want this dude to be my coach, that's a black man taking his power and saying, bring this dude in here and coach me. So yes, Sean Marks did have a prior relationship with Steve Nash, but it's different because from what I understand, there have been several teams trying to get Steve Nash to come back, to come coach for them. And this is the only team that actually got, him over the hump. And I don't think it was Sean Marks who did that. I'm pretty sure it was Kevin Durant having the answer that he had and wanting him there that led to him getting hired. So again, from a macro perspective, on the surface, Stephen A was not wrong in what he said in terms of white privilege. I just hate that he used this hire as an example, because to me, it's a horrible example. It's a horrible example. So that's why I say I disagree with it, because I don't go too deep into this, but you run the risk of alienating people when you just throw race on everything.
Right.
And if you have people who are finally listening and you use everything as an example of white privilege or, you know, I don't say discrimination, but you're using everything as an example of a reason why Black people have to work twice as hard, which is true. And that's why it hurts me to like say this stuff, but I just feel like this is the worst example to use. Like there's so many other examples. You can talk about ownership. You can talk about
Yeah.
GMs. You can talk about
Any front office
VPs.
position.
Like you can talk about that all day, but not this one. That's where I have an issue with it because it's like this is a perfect example for white people to be like, that's not true. They're gonna say exactly what I said. That's not true. Jason Kidd was a head coach, and Derek Fisher was a head coach, and Mark Jackson was a head coach. Steve A just making up stuff to just throw race in the conversation when they didn't play it, you know. So that's what bothers me is that someone with that amount of I don't want to say power, but exposure and that type of following is just throwing it out there when it's like, bruh, you really want to down this hill?
The
But
thing
there are
is,
so many other hills to die on, but this one.
but the thing with Stephen A. is like you said, from Michael's perspective, I agree with him on it. Before we start, huge Steve Nash fan. We all three are here. You know, he's
For
the
sure.
Mavs. He helped usher in the Mavs to respectability. So that's one thing. Not using Steve Nash as cause like I said, it's not Steve Nash's fault. He didn't come to him and say, y'all better hire me because I'm white. It's nothing like that. My thing is with the whole thing is like, if like Kyrie and them, especially Kyrie, you went out and you did all this talking about trying to keep people out the bubble because of, you know, the black movement. You know what I mean? Trying to help empower black people and stuff like that. Yet I don't know what the deal is. Nobody's saying anything. We didn't have no book. Nobody came out with no tell all book, nothing like that. I'm discussing what's going on with the Mark Jackson situation. You know what I'm saying? You got coaches like this who are sitting at home right now and can't get an interview. You know what I mean? And so the problem I'm having with this thing is with guys like okay, the Nets are supposed to be a championship contending team next year, right? Everybody's already putting them in there. Oh, you know, KD and Kyrie come back, they in there. You know what I mean? And the one thing you do is you hire a coach with no experience. Now, Kyrie is finna be 30. Or is he 28, 29? He's already 32. Yeah, you know what I mean? Already 32.
Yeah.
So you don't have any room to mess around at all, bro. Like, you have to get this done right now. Like, you don't have any time left. And the thing with that is, you had a guy like a Tyronn Lue sitting over here as an assistant coach, has the championship pedigree. You see what Mark Jackson did. He hasn't got an opportunity yet since the Golden State thing. Like I said, I think that's something that is something behind that, bro. It's got to be something behind that.
There was some stuff about he was like using team facilities for like church services and like he was like broadcasting from the practice facility or something.
Yeah.
He was doing something like without the approval of the franchise to, I guess, broadcast to his congregation.
Man, that's like I
But
said.
I'm not saying that that's an excuse, but that's the only thing I've heard public that's like.
Because like I said, I'm hearing because I heard about a bunch of people like on radio and stuff like that wondering like what's going on with the whole Mark Jackson thing, because every time we hear people's names out, we hear Mark Jackson, but then you don't hear anybody interviewing him. So I'm just like, but anyway, so like I was saying, like you got coaches like that, man, who have the pedigree, you know what I'm saying, who handled stars like a KD and a Kyrie, and they're not getting any chances, but yet y'all hire Steve Nash, who been sitting in the booth telecasting soccer games and was walking around the Golden State Warriors as a consultant, which we all know that all it is they just show up, shake some hands, stand around at practice, and you get a check. You know what I mean? And so that's the part I don't understand. It's like, and like I said, for KD and Kyrie, it's like that right there. You definitely could like I said, y'all know I don't agree with Stephen A. probably 99.9997% of the time, but the 0.003%. I agree with him on this. Like, you could have used your power to help get a Ty Lue a job. Because you know he got screwed over with that. Who was he trying to go to this year? Who was it? Was it Phoenix?
I'm not sure.
No, I thought he's been there for a little bit.
I forgot the team. But, yeah, the point is I'm trying to make, bro. It's like this right there was an opportunity to really use your power, man. And if, like I said, you feel like you had a chance to win a championship next year, it's like, get a capable coach. Because the one thing, if this don't succeed next year, you already know who's gonna be the fall guy. Oh, it shouldn't have hired Steve Nash. He don't know what he's doing. It's just like, bro, you had an opportunity to get a Ty Lue, who Kyrie, he got you a ring. You know what I mean? But you get a ring. Because remember, the coach before that couldn't get y'all a ring. Then he comes in there next year, you know what I'm saying, get you a ring or whatever. And so that's the only thing that with me. Like I said, I'm not mad that Steve Nash got hired. You know what I'm saying? I'm not mad at that. I'm just talking about the fact that you had an opportunity, KD and Kyrie, to do something with that, and y'all hired this guy. But like I said, if that's what y'all want to do, that's cool. Not my team. I don't care if y'all fall, succeed or fail or not. You know what I mean? But the thing is, like I say, that's the only thing that got me, bro. It's just like all these other coaches. It's like honestly, like everybody keeps saying, "Oh, they cool with him." He talked to him in practice at a game one time. All this other stuff. That's cool, bro. Like Jay, you my boy, but I'm not gonna hire you to do my surgery. You know what I mean? Like you, you know what I'm saying? Like that right there doesn't make any sense to me. Like if Steve Nash went through the channels and they hired him, I can understand it. But like, bro, you have no coaching experience at all. You know what I mean? The only organizational experience you have is as a consultant. And you can say Steve Kerr, but Steve Kerr had some type of basketball knowledge. He was in the front office. He ran things like Popovich did. Popovich was in the front office. He ran things. So he had the basketball knowledge. You know what I mean? Like this dude was a consultant and a TV analyst for soccer. Like you have no type of.
Well, you know I don't know how many times let you just slat a soccer like that,
but I mean, no, you know what I'm saying. But no, but that's the only thing that got me, man. It's like y'all could have hired somebody else, bro. You know what I mean? Y'all could have worked his way, like do like y'all did with what was that coach name?
Becky Hammond.
Oh, who? Oh yeah, well, like Becky Hammond, somebody like work him in, like start him off like with Ben Stackhouse, because now Stackhouse is coaching at I think Vanderbilt now. You know what I'm saying? Start him, I think Vanderbilt. Mm-hmm. Start him at like G League or something like that, man, and build him up, and then get him in there. You know what I mean? Like that's the only thing that got me, bro. It's like, come on, man, y'all. So like I said, I don't want to hear any excuses next year from this team, bro. I really don't. You had the opportunity, bro. You had the opportunity. And I'm thinking they will get one more thing before you say something. And y'all fired Kenny Atkins for this. Y'all fired Kenny Atkins. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, like, are you serious? See, fired a dude who was known for developing players for a guy who ain't never coached before. He ain't even coached his daughter's soccer league team before. It's like, come on, man. Like,
I will jump real quick.
Oh yeah, go ahead. My bad. Go ahead.
Because I was going to bring in Kenny Atkinson as well. He was a hell of a coach, and
he was a real good coach.
He deserved to be fired. I even think Jacque Vaughn was
I thought he was gonna get the job.
And I'm biased. He went to Kansas, but whatever. But I thought he did really well. Also, I think we're in a time now where the league is player centric, right?
Yeah.
And this is now on KD and Kyrie.
Yeah, it is.
Because we brought in the coach that you want.
Mm-hmm.
So now it's on y'all. If it doesn't succeed, they're gonna say it's Steve Nash's fault, but it's really y'all's fault.
Exactly.
So I just want to make sure that it's not lost that the decisions were made by Black men.
Yeah.
It's not a situation where white people made a decision without regarding or considering the people who were going to either benefit from this or be the victim of it, right?
Right.
So that's why I have a hard time agreeing with Stephen A, because it's almost as if Stephen A is saying that white people made this decision and didn't consider Black people, and that's why it was done. It was like, no, that's not what happened here. That's why I keep saying I agree from a macro perspective. I just hate.
Yeah, what I said, just from the macro. Like, I don't get like the dead eye what he was saying. You know what I mean? Just from that macro's perspective. You know what I mean? Because he didn't keep the same energy with the Kaepernick thing. I want y'all to remember that he didn't keep that energy with the Kaepernick thing. Now you real adamant about this. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like that makes no sense. But yeah, you were saying though.
Yeah. So I'll let you talk now. So
yeah, go ahead, go ahead, man.
Yeah.
For me, so I disagree. Because Steve Nash 2 MVPs, he knows the game. Talking with D'Antoni, they asked D'Antoni about One plays that he would have Steve Nash run was he included in the offense, and he was basically like, I gave the ball to Nash and let him do his thing.
Right.
Basically. So, yeah, basically. So, and then just Nash baseball brain, basketball brain for this is enough to, I think it will be huge. And for us, I think the big thing about it is, like Jay said, it was two black superstars that allowed for this to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And then you also have the background of the same organization has done it before for black people. So I think the big thing about it is to keep, if this was the wrong argument for Stephen A. To try to go to. If he would have been talking, let's say NFL quarterbacks, Peterman for Buffalo. Hey, you absolutely correct. That Buffalo did not deserve the job. But for Steve Nash, for this job, it's hard to say that he's right. I mean, that's how I feel about it. I think this was the wrong fight. And for those people that would jump off the bandwagon for this, they didn't want to be on the bandwagon. For us to be 100% correct on everything when it comes to dealing with this type of situation, racism and things like this, it's impossible. You can't be 100% correct on everything. It's just impossible. And they're just seeking for a reason not to be part of it. So
I think my thing is, mine is more of, like the coaching experience in general. You know what I mean? Like that's
but it's understandable.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's the only thing. It's like y'all say that I've been hearing from these experts is, wait till KD and Kyrie come back. Wait till KD and Kyrie come back. Like I've heard people already put them in the top 3 next year. You know what I mean? With KD and Kyrie. You know what I'm saying? As far as like being contenders or whatever. It's just like, okay, so if this is the case, then how would y'all go and hire a dude that never coached before? When you got these other candidates who's been lined up, I mean, hearing the names tied to, like you said, Jock Vaughn, bro. Come on now. Like you said, since Kansas, bro, Jock Vaughn's been kind of key to be a coach. You know what I mean? And like he's been working the proper channels. He's been in the G League. He's been in college. He's been in, assistant coach in the NBA for years. You know what I mean? Like he said, I thought he was gonna be the coach. This threw everybody out when they named Steve Nash. You know what I mean? Go ahead, cuz.
So watching the Milwaukee and Miami series is Kyrie and KD mentally strong enough to deal with a team like that.
Why you gotta do it?
They'll be regular season.
I mean, you're not asking a bad question. You're not asking a bad. You know what? It's funny you said that. Let's go that's a great question. So I was sitting there, and when those two got together, and we all knew KD wasn't gonna play or whatever, and Kyrie was the guy. He was still doing the same stuff he was doing at Boston. Man, let me go ahead and say this too, bro, because I was talking this with my homeboy Daryl and them before. This might be blasphemy. I know people gonna probably kill me on the internet, but I really don't care. I don't think Kyrie is a true superstar. He has superstar talent, but I don't think he's a true superstar. I don't feel like he makes anybody better. He's a point guard that only gives you like 5 assists. You see what I'm saying? Like he controls the ball too much. He's kind of like a mini Carmelo. You know what I mean? Like a vacuum. Like once that ball touches his hand, that's it, bro.
The black hole.
Yeah, that black hole. You know what I mean? It's like you don't make anybody better. Prime example. Went to Boston. Got hurt. Without him, they go to the Eastern Conference Final. 1 game away from the finals. Yeah. He plays last year. They get swept in the first round or second round? What if second round?
Second round.
Yeah, I think the second round. This year, they might be going to the Eastern Conference Finals again. They're a better team, a better all-around team. You know what I'm saying? Like, but everybody keeps saying, but they need him though.
With Kemba, who's not as good a player.
Exactly. You know what I mean? And I kid y'all not, when they gave up Kyrie and got Kemba, I said, watch this. They're gonna go right back to being that team they were the year he was hurt. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so with him,
Jaylen Brown,
and then like I don't know what KD's mental makeup is, bro. I be confused. It's like you played in a system I know we all hated it, but you played in a system, bro, where it was fluid, it flowed. Like
Sure.
everybody touched the ball. You don't know where the offense is coming from. You got all these killers out here. To a guy that's going, like you said, it's a black hole. Like I don't understand. Like he's gonna go back to playing like he did in Oklahoma City, where okay, I get mine. Okay, now you get yours. I get mine. Okay,
I
now
hope
you get
not.
yours. You know what I mean?
I
It's
hope
like
not. You know,
I
I think
just
I think I think Kyrie is a Robin. He's a really, really,
he's a
really,
Robin.
really good Robin. And the last time he was a Robin, he won a championship.
But see, that's the
So
point you said that because we know that he's not a true point guard. You know,
right,
LeBron's more of a facilitator, so that would make it
right,
better for him. Because look, all your job is to do is just go out there and score. You go to
right.
Brooklyn, you're a point guard. When you were in Boston, you were a point guard. But
Yeah.
it's not your game. That's why the team
Right.
struggled compared to when he played in Cleveland. Well, in Cleveland, yeah, we just wanted you to score. You was at the point guard position, but we know who the point guard was. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So
He's Monte Ellis with like
yeah, exactly.
he's Monte
Pretty
Ellis.
much.
So he should be off the ball.
Yeah.
So they didn't get a point guard. But I don't know. I to put it on, we've been talking about this for a while, but I think it's important that from Stephen A's perspective that he's just really careful, man. Like I think we're at a time where we're getting more people to be open to listening than we've ever had before.
Yep.
And I think because that's the case, you have to be really careful to not say something that's going to tune them back out. Because something as simple as this can tune people back out.
And he's so demonstrative
Because
too. It's like
yeah, and
all
it's
in
like
your face with
he's
it.
not even trying to listen to any sort of alternative opinion about it because he's so
Right.
set in, oh no, this is white privilege, da, da, da. And it's in the definition of a term, I can see why he may feel that way. But I really wish that he took a step back and look at this specific example. And like I said, I don't know if this is the hill to die on. And
Especially
and
NBA.
that's, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, and it's just that's dangerous.
Yeah.
And I don't think he understands that. And so I don't fault him, but I just really wish someone who is as knowledgeable as he claims to be and as plugged into the NBA as he claims to be, that he would use that uh, expertise to really make sense of the situation and say, let me take a step back and process this whole thing. And it's okay to be wrong, right? Like if I want to say he gave the reaction the same day that it happened, and it kind of brought out everybody. So I understand the initial reaction, but it's also the onus on him to be able to process the information and the next day go on first take and say, you know what, now I think about it, I have more knowledge of the situation, and this is not the right example to use. What I said is true on the surface, right?
Mhm.
But this particular example, after finding out that Kyrie signed off on it, that KD signed off on it, they wanted him in, maybe this is not the right example to use. But not to say that what I was talking about isn't the thing, because it is, but just not in this specific example. If you're gonna have that platform and be that loud when you're wrong, and be that loud when you're right, be that loud when you're wrong too, because that's gonna be the accountability that will keep the people listening that weren't listening before.
Yeah. We need to turn that energy to the NCAA men's basketball,
Saying that right.
especially with after John Thompson just passed away and barely have any black coaches there.
R.I.P.
Okay.
I don't know how much time we got left, y'all. I guess I was gonna ask y'all this. Let's go ahead and talk about the Mavs, man. That's our team. Yes, sir. I don't think I've ever been so excited about a loss in my life. You know what I'm saying? Like we all know how good Luka was, right?
Yeah.
For everybody in the world to finally see what we saw in that little week span.
I don't like it.
You don't like it?
No, I don't
I don't like it.
You know what it's like? You know, I compare it to, and I know I probably have a whole lot of times I'm not dwell on it, but you know, when you find like a TV show that like nobody really watches,
Yeah.
but you love it, and it's like, yo, I love this show. You tell people close to you, like, yo, you should watch this. You should watch this show. It's not real popular, but I'm telling you, it's really good, right?
Like
So you watch
Mandalorian.
it. Yeah, like so you watching this show, you love it. You got your homeboy, you got your family watching it, they like it. You know, it's kind of like Slab, right? But like you find something hole in the wall, or just a random show that you really like, or a movie, or a music, artist, or whatever, and then you really like it, and you start really messing with them. They 2 albums in, and you love them, but they still ain't really got that mainstream yet. And then all of a sudden they get that smash single, and everybody's like,
oh my God, look at this guy.
I remember I used to mess. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. Because when I went to the concert House of Blues, it was like 18 of us there, and you wasn't there. So that's how I feel about Luka. Is like, yeah, Luka blew up now. Everybody talking about I love Luka, yada yada yada. He's names down. It's like you wasn't there when they were trying to figure out was DHJ gonna be the point guard or was Luka gonna be the point guard. You wasn't there for that.
I forgot about Dennis Smith.
That's what I'm saying, bro. So
Terry used to kill me about that. Like, you just gonna disrespect Dennis Smith. You forgot about it. I'm like, babe, listen, man.
That's what I'm saying, bro. So that's why I sound like it was like it's when you have that niche audience that was there from the beginning, and everybody else is like, oh, look at that, nah, bro.
Bro, and I know so many people that came out the world were like, I told you. It's like, bro, listen.
You didn't tell me.
Josh knows this, bro. I came out the womb a Mad fan. Even I was kind of mad when we got him, bro. And so I'm just like,
I can see why, though.
You got 5 minutes.
What we traded off.
Yeah. Cause we got 5 minutes. I was sitting there. I was like, cause we were in Miami at the time, and I remember watching the draft, and they had the first 2 picks. Then after Sacramento picked Bagley, Woj came onto the screen, and I remember he was saying Dallas, and I rose up like, no, like, are you serious right now? I kept hearing, like, I think y'all was saying, like, I'm hearing some trades. I'm hearing, like, Fred. I'm hearing some trades. I'm like, nah, man, you're not stupid. You're not going to do that, man. We got Dennis Smith. Just go ahead and get to a center or a power forward or something. We good. Man, so when Woj
Jaren Jackson, I think we were talking about Jaren Jackson coming.
Yeah, either Jaren Jackson or Mo. We dodged a bullet, boy. Mo Bamba. We dodged a bullet, boy. Man, shout out to my boy B on that one, boy, because man, we gotta get Mo Bamba. We gotta get Mo Bamba, man. Listen, I was just like, King Fred was like, yeah, get Mo Bamba. I'm like, nah, bro, we don't need to get Mo Bamba, dog. Like, I don't know. I was like, man, we need to get like Marvin Bagley or somebody, man. I think we was on that too. But listen, I'm gonna tell you right now, if Donnie was to tell me he was looking for a dude on Pluto, I'm listening to him.
For sure.
Man, I told my pastors, I said, bro, listen, he hit on Dirt. Him and Dad hit on Dirt.
He hit on Giannis.
He hit on Giannis.
Yep.
And then he hit on Luka. I'm like, bro, listen, if you say you got a dude overseas, bro, I'm not saying nothing. What you want to do? What we signing to? What we getting him? You know what I mean? Like a oh, go ahead, Jay.
I was just gonna make a proposition, and this is probably not something that I should do while we're recording. I'm gonna do it anyway.
Go ahead.
I don't think we have enough time to adequately discuss this where we want to. So I think there should be a separate deep dive on the Mavs, because you said we got like 5 minutes left, and we talked about Steve Nash for like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
I think we're in the past 5, which is probably not appropriate.
So because y'all got some time. We can get into it.
I think we need. I don't think 5 minutes is enough, bro. Because we got to talk about playoffs. We got to talk about what do we do next.
Oh yeah, we can do that because
like KP's need.
I want to ask y'all who what direction we need to go in. But yeah,
that's what I'm saying. We need some more time.
All right, so that is the video then, y'all. Please like and subscribe to the channel. Please like and subscribe to the channel.
Yeah, wherever there's something to click, you should click there.
Yeah, please. Oh, you click on that notification bell too, so that way whenever I drop a video, you guys know it's coming out.
Know the game.
I was gonna say something. Y'all see us again with the same outfit on again in the third video. Y'all know what time it is.
Listen, the content is worth. Listen, don't worry about what we got on.
Yeah, don't worry about what we got on, man. This is what we're talking about, man. But yeah, that's gonna be it, y'all. We're gonna do a part 3, I guess you can call it. So hey, it's your boy Jay Will. We out.
Appreciate you guys.